Hello, everyone. This is the Crimson Cure, welcoming you to the Crimson Tower, a place where we keep a feminine foot on the neck of the gynocracy, feminism, and black male misandry. So go ahead, pull up a chair, stay a while, and listen.
See, wherever I go, stay ready, stay alert, always prepared for whatever. I see you. There's a seat right here. You can see from all angles. I'm ready. It's time to get down to business. Game time.
Hi, honey. I know you just made it to the library, but love of my life, my hero, my lion, you forgot your A game. So come home, take it, and then you can go and conquer the world, black man. Oh, and one more thing. Would it kill you to just wear some socks? I'm just saying. Love you. And can you bring home some milk?
Oh, man. She be killing me. Okay, I'll go back. I'm gonna get my A game. I'm not putting them socks on. I'm good. I'm fly. I'm fresh. I'm gonna stop at 7-Eleven to get some milk.
Hey there, my Crimsonites, and welcome to the Crimson Cure channel. I am your host, femininity coach, and author of the Crimson Cure, and this is my perspective. So, what are we talking about today? We're talking about modern women are time and energy vampires, right? And we know what energy vampires are. Time vampires are the same thing. They just eat your time without any respect for it, without any care for your time. Now, when I talk about time, I am talking about it from the perspective of a man's vetting process, which includes time, toll, trouble, and threat. And when we take a look at time, it says most men in today's society understand that he has to invest the intangible and non-renewable resource of time to get to know a woman. He's determining if the reciprocity he receives benefits him moving forward. Now, as we talk about time vampires, we are also going to talk about trouble as it pertains to the type of time, because a time vampire, especially when we're talking about a female, that time is usually usurped by her trouble or her amount of chaos. Okay. And remember when I said that trouble is connected to the problem solving area of the 4 Ps. Okay. So she's going to want to present issues that require him to solve problems. Now, here's the first one, and ties into what I'm talking about. She creates personal emergencies for him to resolve. Okay. Now, here's the thing. Her personal emergencies aren't necessarily his emergencies. Chaotic women who are part of the gynocracy, women who are having that feminist entitled mindset, often want a man to problem solve, but not for her betterment, not for her progression as a person. She really just wants to see how many fires she can start versus how many he's gonna be willing to put out, okay, for her. So she likes to start little fires or get involved with this thing or that thing just to see if he's going to so-called come to her rescue at all, to see if he's gonna continuously problem solve. Whether these things are large or petty, it does not matter to her. She just wants to see him run around like a chicken with his head cut off. So, if she's having some issues at work, She'll tell him those issues in such a way that he feels as if he needs to resolve an issue for her. This might not even be an issue for her. This might be something that's recurring, something that she's used to, or something that she automatically or already knows how to handle. She just wants to know what he would do in that situation and whether or not he's going to volunteer to rescue her or stand up for her or check somebody for her or do something for her that quote unquote proves that he's into her. Okay. This is a gynocrat's backwards way of trying to vet a man or run a man or both, because they think that the ability to run a man is actually a vetting process. Really, it just runs men away, but that's kind of a different story. So I'm not going to go fully into that. I am going to stick to creating personal emergencies for him to resolve. This could be anywhere in her personal life because this is connected to her trouble. So her trouble, remember, are the things that she comes with that are her issues prior to the relationship. Okay. She had this going on before she met him. So this is that trouble category where he's involved in problem solving in order to minimize her amount of trouble, or to see if he can minimize her amount of trouble, right? But a lot of times gynocrats produce more and more and more trouble, such that it is an insurmountable level of trouble that any man would it would be daunting for him, or he would become exhausted from trying to put out these fires that she's got going. And they can be sort of small individually, but we know little fires can join together to become a conflagration. Okay. So in no time, that's what she has. She has not just these little fires that you can just pat out, but she has a whole entire building burning, and she's looking at him like, you're going to put it out with a cup of water. You know what I'm saying? You got to keep going back and getting a cup of water and splashing it on there. And I want to see, can you put it out? So this is her way. This is her way of just running him. This is just her way of trying to see how much she can get away with, trying to see how much of a simp he is, or if he's a simp, because that's how she's going to judge it. If he keeps running to her rescue, no matter what she says, then she thinks she's got a mark. Okay, then she thinks she's got a guy that's wrapped around her little finger, and it doesn't matter what she does, she can do no wrong. He's always, even if he doesn't like it, or even if he expresses that he's displeased with her somehow, all she's got to do is act real coy about it or whatever, and he's still going to put the fire out whether he likes it or not. Okay? She doesn't like men that refuse to put the fire out, but she kind of respects those guys because it's like, at least he's not some type of simp, okay? Because he's not actually going to resolve these issues. He's going to leave it to me, since I have so many, since I'm so chaotic, he's going to leave me to my own devices, because many times what happens at this point is, during the course of problem solving, a man is actually giving her the directive, right? He's giving her the leadership. He's giving her the steps that is going to resolve the problem that she needs to actually implement. Okay. And a chaotic woman isn't going to implement these things because she doesn't actually want the problems resolved. She just want to see him run around to do it. But she doesn't actually want them resolved because she's chaotic. She actually likes problems. She says she doesn't like them, but really she thrives off of the chaos and the back and forth and the upheaval of having a bunch of issues going on and a bunch of things going on. She's into it with this one and that one. She's having a problem at work, a problem at home, a problem with her family, a problem with her kids, a problem with, she's got just a problem everywhere. Everywhere there's a, what I'm saying? Here's a problem. There's a problem everywhere. Problem. You know what I'm saying? Chaotic McDonald had a farm. Like, she's chaotic McDonald's and she's got a farm. Okay. And she just wants you to go around. She just wants her man to go around and tend to everything while she just sits back like, you're an idiot. Because that's not even really a problem for me. I just presented it as a problem because I just want you to see you do it. Because I don't respect your time. Because problem solving is time consuming. It consumes his energy. It consumes his mental energy. And it consumes the time that he takes, especially if each issue is not actually being resolved because she's being hard-headed about it, and she's not actually doing anything that he's telling her to do to actually resolve these problems and get it over with, so that at least if there are other problems, they're new problems, not the same ones. So it's even more of a time-wasting situation if these are the same problems that he's having to go over and over and over and over and over again, not because the problem is complex, but because the stuff he told her to do 2 weeks ago to resolve the issue, you come back, did you do it? Boop. Okay? Because now you're just wasting time just to waste the time. Here's another time waster that chaotic, gynocratic women engage men in. As the relationship goes on, she takes less responsibility for it. What do I mean by that? What I mean by that is she begins to offload responsibility and accountability for the functionality of the relationship more and more onto his shoulders. She puts more on his plate rather than take it away, right? Because a non-gynocratic, a feminine woman is busy trying to see what's on her man's plate so that she can see what she can take off of his plate and put onto her own in order to share the responsibility of the relationship. This is what she's trying to do. She's trying to preserve his time, because remember, time, unlike money, is a non-renewable resource. Once those minutes are gone, you never get them back. No one can give them back. All right. So what a feminine woman is going to try to do is she's going to try to survey his plate to see what is on there that she can take in order to decrease his burden, in order to increase her burden of responsibility and her part in making the relationship be functional, making it the relationship be happy and fulfilling for the both of them. Right? So a feminine woman is not looking to be served in a relationship. She's looking to serve, right? Because the idea is that if we serve, then he will reciprocate that anyway, and we'll get the fulfillment that we're looking for in this relationship. So a feminine woman never really has to demand, okay, that, well, you need to spend time with me, or you need to talk to me, or why don't you call me, or why don't we go places, or why don't you ever text me, or why don't you ever communicate with me? We don't have to demand that type of stuff from our men, because first of all, our men want to spend the time, because he does not feel as if we are draining his time in a malicious way, and he actually feels as though the time spent with us is time well spent. Because he walks away from that encounter feeling good. He walks away from that encounter feeling fulfilled in some way, right? Emotionally or mentally, or even sometimes physically, he feels relieved, right? And fulfilled. So, but a chaotic woman is not looking to relieve any stress, right? She's not looking to relieve any burden off of his shoulders. She's actually come to place more and more burdens on him. So she expects him to carry the relationship. So when he tries to carry the relationship and she doesn't carry or take responsibility for any portion of the relationship, when the relationship fails, because it is inevitable that the relationship is going to fail, because one person can't make a two-person relationship go. Right? That's like sitting in a rowboat and only one person is rowing and the other person just looking at the other person. First of all, as long as I keep rowing on this one side, we're going to go in a circle. We're not ever going to get anywhere. In order for a rowboat to go in a straight line, there must be rowing happening on both sides simultaneously. Right? And I've never rowed a boat, but just physics, right? Common sense. If we're going to go in a straight line in a rowboat, everybody, either if there are two people each with an oar, we're going to row at the same time. We're going to put the oar in the water at the same time, push and pull, right? If there's one person, they have two oars and they're maneuvering those oars all simultaneously in order to go in a particular direction. However, if you got two people in a rowboat and only one of them is rowing and they're only rowing on that one side, then you're going to go in a circle. You're going to eventually go into a circle because that's not progress. That's just one person doing a lot of work without any progress. And they're eventually going to become exhausted and look at you like, why aren't you helping this move progressively in a particular direction? So this is what she does, a time vampire, a chaotic female who is looking to drain and usurp a man's time without any regard at all for his time or what he does with his time. She's going to be that the dead fish that isn't rowing, that's just looking at him, or that hands him the oar, but it's still not going to work because he's only sitting on one side of the rowboat. Right? If you can catch my analogy. So that's what's happening here. She takes less responsibility for the relationship over time. Because even though those four T's, are for vetting process, remember that I told you that a woman needs to consistently be worthy of the four. She needs to consistently pass that test even throughout the relationship. It isn't just for the vetting until he locks her down in a commitment. Then after the commitment, she still needs to be worthy of time, toll, trouble, and threat. She still needs to be worthy of his time. She still needs to be worthy of the toll. She still needs to keep the trouble in check, and she still needs to keep the threats off the table. That doesn't change, because as soon as she's not worthy of time and toll, as soon as the amount of her chaos and trouble go up, or she places threats back on the table, this jeopardizes and pretty much ends the relationship, right? Whether it ends it immediately or it degrades it over time, we're looking at the end, the beginning of the end, right? So this is another way in which chaotic women she's taking this time, and not in a good way, because we're all going to spend time on whatever, even if we enjoy thoroughly a person or a thing that we are doing, right? We enjoy the company of a person, or we enjoy some activity that we're doing. All of us are going to spend time, right? And so there's no such thing as time not being spent, but because time is such a precious, non-renewable resource, it is something that we need to be careful of wasting. And we can't allow other people to waste our time. So if you're a chaotic woman, this might be one of the things that you're doing. Getting into relationships and then not really taking responsibility for the direction nor the integrity of that relationship. This is a time vampire, which kind of translates into an energy vampire, because time and energy are linked, right? Because if you're spending time doing something, that's also energy spent. Putting out these fires and problem solving for her endlessly, that's energy as well as time, right? This is the other thing. A gynocratic woman expects his time to be spent with her or serving her. So any time that he's spending, she either wants that time to be physically spent with her, or spent with her talking on the phone, or spent with her texting her, or spent with her taking her somewhere, or spent with her, or the time that is not being spent with her needs to be spent in service of her. So if he's not physically there to spend the time or communicating with her in some type of way, if he's working, she thinks that working is supposed to ultimately serve her. She wants him to bring the paycheck home to her. She wants him to spend the money that he makes because of the time that he just spent making it, to spend that money on her. Somehow, some way, in some way, shape, or form, she wants the time all to herself at all times. So even if like I said, even if he's not physically there, which two people can be physically 24 hours there, each other's faces, people have stuff to do, hopefully, but she still wants the time because she wants it to be dedicated to her. She wants the benefit of his time no matter what. And usually when men aren't in our faces, they are somewhere making money. That is what they're spending their time on. They're somewhere building something, maintaining something, making some type of money, making some type of move. They're doing something productive, especially if you have a masculine type of man. Excuse me. Got to get the fan out. Especially if you've got a masculine man who is about his business, he's rarely going to sit around and waste time. You know, the time that people would consider wasting, he's like, I need to rest so that I can get back up and get back at it. You know what I mean? So this is what's going on. You know, he's not wasting time. But a gynocrat doesn't see any of that. She doesn't care about any of that. Because, and this is the main reason before I finish this up, the main reason she's wasting time is because she didn't care about him. And gynocrats are raised with such an entitled viewpoint of the world that they often waste time anyway. And they feel like you shouldn't be bothered. If it's serving them, then you should be happy to do it. That's the entitlement. I don't care what it costs you to do something for me, whether I need you to do it, want you to do it, or whatever. That shouldn't bother you. You should be jumping up, happy to do whatever it is I want you to do because I want you to do it because I'm entitled to you to do it. And the moment that you slow down and say, hey, I can't do that, now a gynocrat is mad. She's mad about it. Now she's arguing. Now she want to fight. She want to curse. She want to clown. She want to yell. She want to do all of this little trifling petty stuff. Go through your phone, this, that, and the third. You know, all of these destructive habits that she uses to try to get her man, quote unquote, back in line so that he can do the stuff that she feels entitled for him to do. Okay. And last but certainly not least is just overall, she does not respect his time. She doesn't respect time, period, let alone his, because she wastes her own. And not respecting time, in my eyes and in my opinion and in my spiritual system, is not respecting the Most High either. Because when we think about time Islamically, Allah is both separate from it and time is him. Like Allah exists outside of the confines of time. So past, present, and future do not exist to Allah. Right? And I don't want to get too esoteric about it. But suffice it to say that time is a part of the Most High. Because Allah is not constrained by time, but did create it. Created time, just not constrained by it. Because the Most High is not constrained by anything. There are no constraints. So, but time is created. We perceive time and we perceive it in a linear fashion. And we only have so much of it. Why? Because everybody passes away. And we don't know how much time we each have in this world. We hope that we don't die too soon. But people do. Some people, die in their infancy, some in old age, some by accident, some by sickness, or what have you. But regardless of the method or the time period, we all must pass away at some point. So time, this is the one thing, because of the presence of death, that makes time valuable. And we are also warned against the wasting of time. Also, due to this specific reason, you don't know when your time is up. You're not, the old saying goes, you're not promised tomorrow. Just because you live today doesn't mean you get to wake up tomorrow and do it again. whatever it is. So because time is a limited as well as a non-renewable resource, it makes it precious. And because time is precious, it needs to be taken care of. It needs to be spent wisely. It needs to be spent fruitfully. It needs to be spent effectively, right? It needs to be spent on the things that need to happen and the things that guide us towards fulfillment. That is what our allotment of time in this world is even for. Because if you think about anything that's a limited resource, that's non-renewable, that thing instantly becomes extremely precious. Instantly. Because it must be preserved. Because once it runs out, you're not going to get any more. Nobody can make any more. And it's going to be it. And this is why time is so precious. A gynocrat raised with entitlement doesn't understand those concepts. So this is why she doesn't respect any time. She doesn't respect her time. She certainly doesn't respect the time of any man, because not only is she being taught entitlement, she's being taught misandry. She's being taught that men owe her something just for her existence and their existence. So he automatically owes her time toll and to put up with her trouble and put up with her threat. This is why the gynocrat is dangerous and should be avoided. Feminine women understand the concept of time and understand the precious nature of time, the valuable nature of time, because we don't waste our own time. Feminine women we don't waste our time. We try to make sure that our time is spent, that when we look back upon our day, that we can say I was productive in some way, shape, or form, right? And the feminine ladies can voice their opinions on that. I would love to hear it. Because as a feminine woman, I look back on my day, whether I spent it writing, whether I spent it sewing, whether I spent it progressing my channel, or even if I spent the day in meditation and prayer, that was time well spent also, in order to rejuvenate and replenish my spiritual store. Right? But a gynocrat don't think like that, because her thinking is so external and selfish at the same time that she becomes irrespective of time. She becomes disrespectful of time. She doesn't think that time affects her. She thinks she's above it somehow. Right? All right. So I would love for everyone to sound off in the comment section for me. Do you think that modern women are time and energy vampires? Do you agree with the traits that I named? Do you have even more traits that you want to name and include in this list? Or do you disagree? Like I said, please go ahead, sound off in the comment section. Let me know what you guys think. Like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you have not. Once again, I am your host, The Crimson Cure, and this was my perspective. Bye-bye, Crimsonites. Hey guys, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. And if you've got more to say on the topic, leave a comment down below. Also, don't forget to support our sponsor, who so graciously supports this channel by clicking the description box and the link for A-Game at agameherbal.com. You can go ahead and get a 10% discount off of your next purchase using the code Kendra10. This has been yet another Crimson Cure production, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.